So hey guys, today we are going to learn about React hooks. In particular, we will be exploring useState hook, a powerful tool for managing state in functional component. If you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay up to date with our latest content. So let's get started. So first we will talk about what is state in React. In simple terms, a state is a way to store and manage data within a component. It allows us to keep track of information and manage data which can change more often, and it gives us information about a component and how that component will be rendered on the screen. Before going to use state, I want to show you that how in the initial days of React, when class-based components were there, how we used to manage the state. So in class-based components, we have a constructor. In that constructor, we have to initialize a state, and it was an object. And then when you have to use that state, you have to use this dot state dot count. Now, in the class-based components, they were harder to read, they were verbose, so functional components came into being. And functional components, we don't have that constructor functions, so in the functional component, they gave us the hook of use state, and that hook was used to manage the state throughout the component. So what was the syntax of use state hook? So it's simply an array. So we are using an array to destructure. So use state hook give us two things: a state, we can name it whatever you want, and a function, and we can name it as we want. This function is used to manage this state. So now you can see that on clicking of button, we are calling the increment count function, and on that increment count function, we are calling this set count function that was returned to us by use state hook, and we are just going count plus one. So count was the previous state of this component, and now the plus one is just we are increasing it by one. This zero defines that this state should be initialized by default value 0. You can set it to null, undefined, or whatever you want as per your business logic. Now to see that in practice, we can go to our web page, and if we click our increment button, you can see that the count is being increment because the state is changed, and the change of state trigger the component to re-render. That's lead us to a very important topic of why we have to use a state. We can just simply define a variable and can change the variable on that increment. But why we are using a use state hook? So remember, a function re-render is only triggered when the state of that function change or any prop sent to it by its parent is changed. So if we define a variable here like count, and in this function we are going to say that count is equal to 2 3. So now if we console this count, it would be 3, but it will not trigger the component to re-render. So in order to re-render the component, we must have to use state hook and this function to update the state. Only then the component will be re-rendered. Now at the end of this video, I just want to show you one thing which might be confusing for you if you are beginner to this hook. And the thing is that if we go and console the count here, so after we are updating the count, if we are consoling the count here and we go and refresh our home page, now you can see that my count is been updated correctly here, but in my console it's not being updated correctly. Here it is 2, but here it is 1. Why? Because the set count function is a asynchronous function. So in this particular moment, it is not necessary that the count variable is being updated. It takes time. So on the very next line, you will not get the updated count. So now if I add set count plus 1 again, so what should happen? The count should be plus by 2 because the count we added 1 here and 1 here. But if we go and check my web page, you can see that it's only been incremented by 1. Why? Because when this code get executed, the count was 0 and it says 0 plus 1. But when this code executed, the count was still 0. So what happened is in React 18 actually there is a concept called batching in state. So it just get batched and it will only trigger once. So now it will only be increased by 1, not twice. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe the channel, And if you have any query, comment down below. Thank you.